So aloha and welcome to KCC's Blue Table Talk. It's here where students will be able to gain student perspective, tips, and solutions on how we also face day-to-day obstacles, challenges, and current events while attending college. Our topic for today is preparation for final exams. We found this topic to be perfect since we're near the end of the semester and finals are coming up. So today you'll get to meet and hear from KCC student leader organizations. We have the Board of Student Activities here with us and Student Congress to share with you all their tips and solutions for preparing for finals. We'll have them introduce themselves and we'll start off with BOSA. So hi, I'm Cece. I'm the chair for the Board of Student Activities, and our upcoming events that we have planned for you all. We actually have an art showcase happening on the 16th of April, and our Blue Table Talk for May will be streaming on May 2nd. So we hope to see you all there.
Hi, my name is Jihae. I'm a voting member of BOSA. I'm majoring in liberal arts. If you want to know about us, BOSA, or our events, please follow our Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at KCC BOSA. Or please contact us via email kccbosa@hawaii.edu.
Hello, my name is Cassidy. I'm a voting member for BOSA and I'm an IT major. And all I have to say is we look forward to seeing you in our events.
Thank you so much, BOSA. Now we'll turn the time over to Student Congress.
Aloha kako, my name's Alex. I'm your Student Congress president. The activities that we have listed for the month of April are going to be our 75th annual Kapi'olani anniversary. We also will have our Planned Parenthood series, which will be a 3-part series, which will be the 16th, the 23rd, and the 30th. And those are all the events that we will have coming out for the month of April.
Hi guys, my name is Jenny. I'm the treasurer for Student Congress. I'm currently majoring in natural sciences and hopefully planning to transfer to a 4-year. You can follow us at KAPCCSC at hawaii.edu. That's our email, or on our Instagram, CapCCSC.
All right, thank you so much, BOSA and Student Congress. So now that you've met our guest speakers, let's go ahead and get started. So friendly reminder for those who are watching and are with us virtually, if you have any questions during the live stream, the chat box is open below. So feel free to drop us questions, we'll be there. So let's get some other perspectives on their preparation or style of preparation for finals. So first question. Isn't it fun? How do you feel when preparing for final exams? Do you have some stress relief method while preparing for final exams? And we'll start off with our treasurer from Student Congress, Jenny.
Oh man, that's a good one. How do I feel preparing for final exams? I'm just scared of the unknown. How am I going to do? What's going to be on the exam? That's what scares me the most. I mean, the professor tells you what's kind of good to be on the exam, but it doesn't always turn out that way. So how do I relieve stress when I'm preparing for exams? I would try to get into that mental zone where it's like, okay, if I fail, it's going to be okay. You know, there's always next time or there's always a retake, and try not to be so hard on yourself, but also make sure you have all your bases covered in terms of studying for it, asking the professors if you have questions so you're not totally caught by surprise.
Yeah, that's so true, especially when you're preparing for final exams. I kind of rely on what the professor tells me so that I can go ahead and study those instead of wasting my time on studying on other things. But it's never like that sometimes. But thank you so much, Jenny. And we'll turn the time over to Cass.
How do I feel about preparing for finals? I would say that on the one hand, I kind of feel confident that I'll do my best. But on the other hand, a little bit nervous and stressful since I'm not good at studying for finals. And how do I ease myself for finals, stress relief? I would say that kind of like Jenny, I try to get into the mentality of everything's going to be all right, but please study. Do your best. And I would agree, contact my instructors for like review of what needs to be done and try to get help from others and tutors and stuff. And I believe they can help you to bring out your full potential for the final exam.
Yeah, that's actually really true, Cass, because we do have resources on campus that are available for students to prepare for finals. And some of them actually moved virtually, so it could be easier for the students to use the resources that they have. I know tutoring also moved online for those who aren't able to come in person. So that's a big help because I know we're all still a little cautious because of COVID-19. But thank you again, Cassidy, for your insight on this first question. Chihei?
Okay. So like Jenny and Cass said, the final exam to be really stressful, whether it is difficult or not. First of all, I think it's because there's a lot to study. Mental management seems to be the most important thing while preparing for the final exams. I usually wake up early in the morning and meditate for about 10 minutes. And after studying hard during the daytime, I go to the gym and exercise when I get tired. Sometimes, if there are many things to read or memorize, I can memorize or read while walking on a treadmill. It is more effective to study while walking.
I wish I had your motivation to study by doing that. I have no motivation to go to the gym whatsoever right now, but I actually have to try that. I know that because we have virtual textbooks, you can press the play button and it can read to you while you're exercising. That'll be a good motivation for me to go exercising too. Thanks, GA. We'll hear from our lovely president from Student Congress, Alex.
All right. So, how do I feel about preparing for final exams? For me, I like to break things down and I consume them slowly because for me, I just learn better that way. So, I would say that I really also try to find a friend or a group of people that I trust. And so, especially since COVID has started, all of my kumus have been really kind of giving us a rubric of what's going to be on the test, and they actually do adhere to that, which has been nice. But yeah, for the most part, I really just try to start a study group of some kind, and then so at least we can collaborate, get change information, see what maybe I learned something, or maybe I didn't grasp it all of it, so at least I can learn from my peers. So yeah, that's what I try to do.
Oh, that's so good. It's actually a really effective way of not only building connections and socializing with other students who are in your class or major field of education, but also it's a good way to just know that you're studying and they just help you in studying. That's all I know because it's just hard to explain. For me, how do I feel when preparing for final exams? I do feel a little nervous, stressed out, not so much because I rely on the professor to tell me what's on the exam. If he's going to say, oh, everything's on the exam, then I know to read the whole chapter, read all the chapters again in the textbook, which is kind of annoying. What are some stress relief methods? I think for me, it's taking a break if I feel like my eyes are sore from looking at the screen, studying too much, or I feel like, okay, I've spent 2 hours on this, it's time to go sleep. It's either I sleep or I go to the beach. That's a good relaxation method for me. It's just to remember that I need to care for myself mentally so that I can be mentally there for the exams or the final projects and stuff. So thank you again, everyone. The second question that we have is, what is your preparation routine for final projects and essays that you think will be beneficial for the student body of KCC? And we'll have Alex go.
So my routine is pretty simple. I think that if something's going on externally from you or something's going on in your mind, it's the first thing you should really address. So I, even leading up to the exam, I make sure I meditate, but I definitely malama myself a lot. So like I'll go get a massage, I'll go get some acupuncture, get those learning points, activated. And so I incorporate all of those wellness techniques into what it is I'm actually doing, because if I feel great, I'm going to perform great. And so I just think that's really a holistic view of how I've always approached things. And that definitely comes from my foundation. So that would be my routine, is just malama yourself and truly make sure that you're in your best mind space so that you can perform to your best ability.
Awesome. Awesome. That's so true. I like how you said it's making sure that you're in the right mind space before, because then when you know you're in the right mind space, you know that you're prepared or you know that you're going to do good on this final project and or essay. So thanks, Alex. Jihei, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, for me, I start preparing a month before the final exam. I will organize and read the tasks and quizzes that I have taken so far. Then I can remind myself of the important contents. After that, I read the lecture materials and notes again and organize the memorizing contents. I think I keep memorizing a week before the exam. I think the important thing in preparation is physical and mental management. You have to be healthy to continue study, and it also help your brain works well. Also, we said before, we have to manage stress well too.
You're every teacher's dream of a good student who prepares for finals. Because I think for me, it's the management thing. I can't do a month before because there's so many other things to do. But good on you, Jihei. And I
Little by
hope
little.
professors and faculty and staff who are watching, she's your go-to girl. But thanks, Jihei. And Jenny.
I love what Jihei's saying, just because preparation, the earlier you can start, the better. I would say the final exam is kind of like you testing out everything you learned so far. So it's like a marathon. And if you try to take everything in one night or within a week of what you've been learning so far, you're just going to stretch yourself super thin, and it's going to be hard to recollect what you're trying to remember. So starting early and just training yourself on maybe looking over a little bit at a time of what you learned so far, and then gradually increasing those increments on how much you're studying the closer you get to the exam date definitely helps you in preparing for the exams. So yes, please do as early as possible and reach out help as soon as you need it, especially from your professor, because I've had professors tell me like they wish students reached out more when they're struggling. Easier said than done, but yeah.
That's so true. All the professors I've had have said that if you're struggling or if you need help, come to me, not the week of, not the week before. Just come to me either a month or 3 weeks in advance because I cannot help you if it's that close to the date.
No, you're absolutely right. And they definitely see it from students who are like, oh, they might think I'm like dumb or you know, I'm afraid to ask this question because I'm going to look wrong. They don't care about that. You're there to ask them. They're there to help you. They'll gladly help you if you're willing to learn.
Yeah, that's so true. And this is one thing that I feel like students are also afraid of is because they think that, oh, I don't want to look like I'm dumb, or I don't want to look like my question is not as educated of a question, or it's common sense kind of thing. But there are no dumb questions, basically. All the professor wants to know is, what do you need help with? Because I can help you. But thanks, Jenny. Cass?
I would say that for the preparation for the final projects and essays, just look at your previous work, see what you got right, see what you got wrong, see what's going to be on the finals, ask your instructors, just use every resource you have, every trick up your sleeve, that kind of thing.
Thanks, Cass. And that's so true. It's always good to be smart in preparing. Don't repeat history is basically what I'm trying to say, which kind of brings me to my point because my preparation routine for final projects and essays, it's kind of like Jihei. If it's a project, I will prepare a month before, especially if it's essays, because don't wait for the last minute to do it. And do not resort to plagiarizing work online because it'll never work out in your favor. Okay. So this is because this is for the student body. I just want them to know it is my last semester at KCC. So I've seen a lot of things of how people do stuff, especially working final projects, either individual and in a group. Don't wait last minute. If your team member or yourself isn't doing the work on time, don't be surprised when they move on. Okay. They're going to move on. You got to be on top of your game because this is everyone's grade if it's a final group project. I've actually had several final group projects where my group and I, we moved on and sometimes we had to leave a member behind because he or she wasn't doing his or her slack. So don't feel bad that that happened to you. It's kind of karma. Also, if it's an individual group project or finals, ask the teacher, like Jenny mentioned, ask ahead of time if you need help, especially with essays and stuff. It's better to be prepared and start on it already than to prevent any other disasters such as plagiarism. You're tardy on your project and I don't know if your professor will let you turn it in the day after it's due, and or you just have nothing. Because I realize that when people tend to do things last minute, I'm not saying it's everyone, just some people, myself included, we tend to rush. And because we rush, we don't really look at the content that we're putting in our work. And because we don't know what we're putting in, the professor sees that, oh, this person wasn't prepared because I can just tell by his or her project or essay that they submitted. So just be prepared and also ask ahead of time and just make sure that you take care of yourself. So it's basically reiterating everything that everyone said is basically what I'm saying for mine. Okay, so thank you, everybody. The third question, what do you think professors should keep in mind when it's finals week for students? And we'll have Jenny.
That's such a difficult question because I feel like professors are already doing a great job in preparing the students and they should be prepared for it. It's just like, what else more that can they do? I guess not assigning a bazillion homeworks before the final week because I had some classes like that. I'm like, how am I supposed to do this? But at the same time, yeah, just for the professors to be more mindful on the workload you give to their students because most likely the class they're taking with you is not the only one that they're having finals with. So it's great to be not lenient, but mindful about that.
That's so true. And you took my advice. Just kidding. But yeah, I've actually witnessed several students, include myself, having a ton of not only homework and assignments, but group projects before the final exam or finals. And I'm just like, really? Are you really going to do this to me? It's like you want me to fail. But all goods to the professors. I applaud them for their hard work, especially during these uncertain times of COVID-19, for trying their best to still educate us virtually, especially for those who aren't used to it, but are still trying to make sure that the students gain that college experience of getting the good education that they need. So we'll have Jihei share.
Yeah, I think during the final exam period, professor and students seem to be very tired and busy. Most professors understand that it is the final exam period. Nevertheless, I hope the professor will know that most of students are taking more than one class, like Jenny said, because sometimes it is hard to prepare for the final exam because all class have assignments. And lastly, it seems to be very helpful if professor gives student a general review in the last week.
That's true. I would appreciate it. I think there are some professors I see that do it, but there are also some that don't. But I would appreciate it, like Jihei mentioned, having a review the week before. It'll be nice. My accounting professor, Professor Dooley, he actually did that with us. And I thanked him so much because it really did help me pass my accounting. I am bad with math. So anybody who knows me knows that I'm not a treasurer for anything because if I have to calculate the money, some money will go missing by accident. And I didn't steal it. It's just that my was not there at the time. We'll have Alex share.
Just to echo also what GK said, I think it's really important for Kumus to review what is going to be on the test, but then also hopefully that is an opportunity for them to engage their students. Even what's happening right now during midterms, we're having all this flooding. You know, it's affecting different parts of the island. So that's affecting how a student learns and how they're able to be engaged in their school. So I think it's really important for them to take a moment to temperature check, to read the room, to really get to know what's really happening. But I think at the same time, as students, we have to look at our own kuleana and we have to look at what's required of us and how we need to be part of our own success. So I think it's really important to, at that point, like I said, just take a temperature check.
I actually love that you brought that up, Alex, because actually I witnessed it myself where I wasn't able to go to class on Thursday because the power went out here. And because the power has been out in the North Shore side since 4, I was like, okay, I don't think I can come. So that kind of thing, and it kind of affects us because it's a sense of whether the professor believes you or not, and whether they'll take mercy on you when you're telling them the truth, or just say, oh, you know, that kind of thing. But I was like, no, it did happen. I mean, I'm not even kidding. It's not like the dog ate my homework kind of excuse. This is real. I was like searching on KHON2 News. But for me, I think it'll be making sure that you make the students feel welcomed whenever they ask you questions, because I've witnessed and I've actually experienced the feeling of, really? Like, are you not that educated to make it yourself? Like, to think for yourself kind of question when you're asking them in terms of finals week. And it's just like, well, that's why I'm asking you, because I don't know. And my common sense is saying, I don't know, that kind of thing. So it's just having the professors make you feel not stupid, basically, but just making you feel like your question is valuable, that they have an answer for you, and that they don't look down on you in a sense. Not that all professors do. I'm just saying that's my advice for them. And also, like everyone else mentioned, don't give us a ton of workload to do right before finals week, because if you want me to pass the class, let me do it stress-free. Which brings us to our next question and our last. What is one advice you would share with the student body regarding finals? And we'll have Jenny start us off.
One piece of advice I would give to student, I guess during finals week, is that, you know, you should be covering all your bases, obviously, like we mentioned, review your homework, but at a deeper sense is that a lot of times when we take finals or when we're like tested, we kind of feel like a lot of it's out of our control. We're not as confident as we should be. And how I guess I mentally prepare for it is like after finals is over, what's done is done. I can't go back in time. I can't change it because you're stressing so much. Like, oh, what did I get? Like, I got this answer wrong. I got this. It's so much catastrophizing, if that makes sense. So it's really like, I believe Cece, you mentioned, it's like going out and taking a breather, going on a walk or going to the beach. My advice is take care of your mental health and your stress levels.
Awesome. So true. Thank you, Jenny. Jihei?
Yeah, my best advice is I mentioned before, not to procrastinate, but to prepare early. The final exam is so important, right? So plan your final exam and make your routine for your final exam, like organizing our contents for 2 weeks, then memorizing it for 2 weeks. As I mentioned earlier, meditation and exercise is really good for the routine for your final exam. Preparation is reduce your stress and help you do the best as you can on the exam. Good luck.
Thank you, Jihei. Awesome. Awesome advice from Jenny and Jihei. We'll have Alex share now.
Yeah, just to echo exactly what Jihei said, prepare, focus on yourself, and then also try to reach out to a friend, because learning together is a great tool that helps everybody involved, and you'll learn something completely different from a different point of view. So that'd be really, really good. Yeah.
Thank you, Alex. Cass?
I would say that first, prepare yourself mentally and a little bit of physically, and then be crazy prepared with the resources and friends, tutors, everything. And then on the day of the final exam, just calm yourself down, remember what you learned, and believe that everything is going to be all right. And after the exam, accept what it is what it is, c'est la vie.
Thank you so much, Cass. One advice I'd share with the student body is don't procrastinate. Take care of yourself, reiterating what was shared before, and your professors are there to help you. They're not your enemy, they're your friend in this sense. So take hold of the resources that are offered at KCC as well. You have tutoring, you have the library for peace and quiet where you can study away from home if needed. You have the teacher's support because no teacher, no professor wants to see you fail. So don't think that they're out to get you. I had to change that mentality long ago. But yeah, it's true what they say. Be prepared, but also take care of yourself. So I want to thank you all. But before we end, we actually have some random questions. Oh, yay. So these random questions were actually given by the student body of KCC that they responded to our spring survey. So the first question is actually for our president from Student Congress. Oh, and BOSA. How can we help international students feel more welcome to Hawaii? Alex, would you like to start us off? Oh, you know what? This is actually perfect. I would actually have Alex and Jihei share because Jihei is an international student herself. She has great perspective on this. So we'll have Alex and Jihei share.
So for me, as an international student, I really like the welcome events. So there's a welcome social events when I get here, and it was really great because that is only for the international student. So usually international students are not good at English. So it is really comfortable if only international student social events. So it's good to have only for international students, something events, anything.
I see what you mean. You see, I'm Tongan, but I do have family that have come overseas to come to school, either at BYU or UH Manoa. And I see what you mean by just having an international student welcome day for them to meet other international students, but also it gives them a chance to get that one-on-one time with those who are holding the event rather than those who can speak the actual language. So I think that'll be a great idea for them to feel welcome. So thank you, Jihei. So for the next board, whoever is watching in the future, International Day for just the students, welcome day. Alex?
Yeah, no, I definitely think that Jihei brought up a lot of valid points. The thing that we definitely have talked about, especially this coming semester, has been the international experience. And I really think presenting information in a language that you're comfortable with is essential. I think that's first and foremost the most important thing to do. I think exactly what Jihei said, creating events that are welcoming you into your new hale, your new home. I think that's incredibly important because at that point you find and you build that sense of home. I think that the school can do a better job about creating peer resources. so that we can navigate that language barrier, but at the same time, build a different type of camaraderie, build that connection with our peers, because there's so many opportunities that we can really focus on and we can really help each other at, especially during COVID, which I really think that if we really would have at the beginning of when COVID started, if all the information that's being sent out to the student body was also sent out to international students in a language that they understood, I think there would be more engagement. And especially during this really uncertain time, information only arms people and it makes people feel more comfortable. And so I really think that looking at this whole experience, again, from a holistic level, and then also being able to talk to the different parts of ourselves, because yes, we are students, but that's only one part of the whole puzzle. We're also human beings. We also have needs. And I think as an institution who we're coming here to learn, to gain skills, to better our lives, we also need to be able to enrich our lives through the information that we're receiving through the school. So I go back to saying that while it's great for us to have information and resources to give, they do us no good if the people that we're sending them to don't comprehend or if they're never getting to them. So that's definitely something that we have looked at this semester, about really making sure that all the information that we're sending out, like the mailer or even the ads that we're sending out through Instagram, we've really tried to make more concerted efforts within this Congress to try to make sure we get that information out to our international students. But it's definitely been a very interesting conversation because no one ever really thought about this. And so that was just a conversation that eye-opening, but hopefully moving forward, that is definitely something that we have put on the radar.
Thank you, Alex G. So I actually love that question, making them feel more welcome to Hawaii, because in a hospitality and tourism program, we do learn about how can we sensitively but effectively communicate the norms and the local rules of Hawaii to the visitors of the island, in the sense where they don't feel threatened or unwanted or unwelcome, but in the sense that they feel the spirit of aloha genuinely. And I think that comes a lot from us as students, local students of Hawaii who have been born and raised here, and how we can help them feel more welcome, not only to Hawaii, but to the campus and events. And I like the idea that Alex and Jihei brought up in the sense of how we advertise events and resources on campus so that they fully understand what's open to them. Because I do understand the language barrier and I love that idea. So Kelly, Jihei, we'll work on flyers and VCSA emails in different languages. But thank you so much. So the second question we have, and the questions are open to anybody who would like to answer. How can we be beneficial to our communities during this time? So Jenny, would you like to start us off? Okay.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks, Cece. So how can we be beneficial in our community? That's a difficult question to ask, is because you can be beneficial in many different ways. My first thought was like maybe you can volunteer at a local food bank, or I think on a smaller scale, how can we be beneficial to the community? To drive back the point of COVID and stuff, is just wearing your mask, staying safe, and make sure you're not having, like, my neighbors, not my neighbors, like people who live across my street are having parties, which is so irresponsible. So do not have that till it's safe to do that. So try not be irresponsible, especially with COVID and stuff. And that's one way in keeping us all safe and getting through this together.
I love that you mentioned that the party situations and people still holding gatherings of more than 10 people, basically. I don't agree with the sense of, oh, it's the state's fault. It's really our own fault, because if we're not willing to take that initiative in following what was asked of us, then I wouldn't complain, basically. Don't complain if you're the cause of it. I love that. Okay, would anyone else like to share? Okay, Cass?
So I would say that to help these communities, there's two things that need to be essential. One is we need to give the communities calmness, tranquility, peace, but we also have to guide them safety protocol. Make sure we're not creating more disasters, we're preventing them. It's just needed that balance for like calmness, make sure they don't go into panic, but we cannot be careless to create more disasters.
I just want to say also to Cassidy and to Jenny's point, looking at it from the airplane analogy, when the flight mask comes down, they always say, put your mask on first and then turn around next to someone and put their mask on. And so I think exactly what Cassidy said. First and foremost, mask up, take care of yourself, and then take care of your own family as well, or your own friends. Great resource that's out there. It's called Keiki Heroes. It's on Instagram. They advocate that as well. And I think that's incredibly important as far as education. So if you see like a child, wash their hands, because 9 times out of 10, they probably haven't washed their hands. A flip side of that conversation as well, I volunteer with a charity group called Kupuna. If you really want to help your community, a lot of kupuna cannot go to the grocery store and it's not a safe time for them to. So like I volunteer for them. It's completely free. You get paired up with a kupuna and every week I go grocery shopping for this individual. And so it's just another way to support them, to help them manage this process. And also it's very beneficial for myself because I have met someone who is from my district, from Manoa, who has grown here as well. So when I got paired with my kupuna, I was just blown away. And so I've learned so much more about my own district and the place that I live. And so I thought it was really beneficial and it can really help someone's life.
That's so true. And I love that you brought that up because I just love it. I love the ideas that was shared. I love the content that was shared so far. And I agree with it. So the third question, and this one is a great question. How do we meet students and make new friends during this pandemic? So would anyone like to share?
I would say that have opportunities for meet and greet for socials, but do not force them. And it reminds me of the saying, you can lead a horse to water, but you can never force him to drink. And just have a lot of opportunities out there. And in case we have shy students who want to socialize but don't know how, we just have to guide them, lead them.
Thank you, Cass. Alex?
Maybe just to also take Cassidy's statement just a little bit further, if you are viewing this podcast, one great way to share that information, like Cass said, was share it on your Instagram, share it on whatever platform that you're on. Because if you're watching this 9 times out of 10, you're already engaged. So how about you engage that other person, maybe your one friend who you know is completely shy, but will look at this post and be like, oh, maybe we'll get something from that. So I think that's really valuable. So that would be my suggestion.
I think for me, when it's like, how do we meet students and make new friends during this pandemic? It's professors are doing online Zoom classes, right? And they don't make it mandatory. Well, actually, I lied. Some make it mandatory, some don't. Make it mandatory to turn your camera on. It's always nice to put a face to a name, basically. And if you want to meet new people, and especially students who can help you progress in your education, like creating study groups or stuff, I would turn my camera on and leave it on. And when they give us that breakout room opportunity, conversate with them. Don't just be that mute person whose picture is showing and just be like, Conversate, build connections, actually do what the professors ask, because we can't meet in person. So it's kind of hard and you don't really get to meet that many people. So try your best to act like it's an in-person class with your camera on, if you get what I mean. I also love the idea of creating events that focuses on social and connecting with new people that you've never met before. It also helps with the international students and local students meet each other to kind of build that bond and how they can help one another. I love the idea of posting on the social media accounts, sharing it with one other friend than just keeping it within yourself. But yeah, anyone else? Does anyone else like to share?
See, I like what you're saying about putting yourself out there, being proactive in making new friends and looking for friends, because a lot of it comes with, you have to be vulnerable first in order to make friends. You got to say, hey, my name is this and that. I like this. How about you? And it's unrealistic to expect someone in your group or someone in a class to do that for you and reach out for you. But if you have two people like that, that's even great because you guys are in the same mindset. So I really like that, just being proactive in searching for friends, because whenever I go out in breakout rooms or in classrooms, there's also clubs, by the way, at KCC, so those are really good. Yeah, Cassidy was saying, be comfortable with being uncomfortable. People are just as worried as you are on how they present themselves, and being proactive in your class, talking to people, and just reaching out, and you never know who you might vibe with.
Yeah, and I love that you mentioned that, because actually when I joined BOSA, I didn't know anybody on my board. And meeting other people and working with them is kind of hard at first because you all have different techniques and personalities. So we had to become vulnerable. And it actually turned out for the best because we're all super close now. And meeting you all over Student Congress, I don't know if you guys feel what I feel, but I feel close to y'all. I mean, I added Alex on social media and he was like, I didn't know if this was you. And I was like, it is me, add me. But basically, yeah, I agree with what everyone is saying. You have to be vulnerable. You have to be willing to actually make friends. Don't just say, I want to make friends and then do nothing about it, because you'll never get anywhere. Put those words to action. But yes, does anyone else want to add on? If not, we can move to our last and final random question. And that is, How do we connect with each other during distant learning? So let's think about that again. The question is, how do we connect with each other during distance learning? Like, how would you connect with each other? It could be friends, it could be students, it could be anything.
Oh, that's good. Well, since COVID and stuff, we can't do a lot of in-person things, especially with my friends. I can't be like, oh yeah, let's just all go together and eat at a restaurant. No. So there's a lot of adjustment. I know it's kind of like Zoom fatigue a lot, but it's really fun. We do like D&D Zoom, and I think it's like really fun and interactive. So having that interactive element of how we connect with each other is still just as good or even better as, I don't know, like eating out together or going to the movies together, because you're still getting that emotional connection from another person, even though it's on a screen.
Yeah, I love that idea. Alex? Sorry, I saw you on mute, so I was like, Alex's turn.
The only thing that I've done, and it's not really been so much in school, I've done it a lot when I go buy boba. So one thing I'll do is I'll just put $30 down and I'll cover as many drinks as I can with that. So I'll buy my own drink and then I'll try to buy a drink for the people behind me. And I think that's always just a really kind thing to do. And it doesn't have to be anything big, because I think a lot of people, especially with COVID fatigue, we're all dealing with COVID in so many different ways, that when it's something so unexpected and it's coming from a place that you're like, whoa, who gave me a free drink? I think that's really what we all need. We all just need something to soften our hearts and just hopefully get us out of the same tunnel vision that we've been in for a while. So random acts of kindness.
Can I come to the boba shop that you go to? But no, and that's so true.
Oh wow,
Sorry,
look,
Jenny.
Alex's here. Oh my god.
Okay, whoever wants to go to Alex's boba shop, I'll pick you up along the way. We'll go there. But no, that's so true, especially what Jenny and Alex shared. I totally agree with it. I love the act of kindness that you do, Alex, because I've been a receiver on that end in the sense of Longs or McDonald's. I know McDonald's drive-through, people actually would pay for the next car, not knowing what I bought. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah. So I'm just like, oh, and then they're like, oh, you're gonna do the same thing for the back car. And I'm like, oh yeah, let's go. But no, but I'm being honest because I've seen it, but you have to be willing to do it. So don't be like me at first. That was just my first time, okay? So I was like, okay, I'll keep it going. But I think for me, how can I connect with each other during distance learning? I think because I have 4 subjects. I have friends, students, teachers, and BOSA, CSOs. For me, regarding teachers, I would try my best to not contact them randomly and for unnecessary things, but things that matter in the sense of me progressing and letting them know that I do pay attention in class and that I would just like to get more information and how can they help me move on so that I can get a better future in the sense of my industry that I want to work in. For students, I think during Zoom, in order for us to feel like we can be friends, I don't want to catch you videotaping me because then I'm just going to shut my camera off and then private message you. But I think just having etiquette with the social distancing learning, do not do anything that you wouldn't do in person and try your best to just be engaging because it really makes it easier on the professor's part and also your part in knowing that they're there and that you can just contact them. Because I've had classmates contact me and just be like, hey, through email, I need help on this. Can you help me? And I'm like, hey, yeah, sure. I'm Cece. I didn't know that you knew I was alive, but nice to meet you. In terms with the student body in general, for me, I think for us BOSA, because we focus on the activity side of things for the college experience, we try to create events that are fun, but also safe for them to attend. We do require people to follow social distancing, even though my board and I get very close and like to have fun with each other. So we're not the best example of keeping 6 feet apart from each other, but we do want to make sure that the students have fun. And also it's an event that they want. We don't create events that we want and that we want to do. It's what you guys as student body want. And that's why the surveys are so important so that we can get a clear understanding of what you guys want, how you guys want to connect with each other, and how we can help you make this social distancing learning more fun to gain that college experience. And I think that brings in with the question of how can we also help students enroll again. And I think Congress also does a survey as well for spring. So I think that's all I have. But for BOSA and for Student Congress and BOSP, how we connect with each other is making sure that we all know that we're there for each other in the different boards. We support them in everything that we do and that we try our best to make sure that we're making decisions together and not individually. So Cass, I see your hand. Don't worry. I'll get to you. We'll turn the time over to Cass.
So, I mean, answering your previous question, how can we connect with each other during distant learning? I would say events that we do, emails, just chatting up or talking about what's going on, talking about how we feel, point of perspective, that kind of stuff. Games and just hanging out safely.
That's so true. Okay, there's not a last question, but I have a last question for you all. And I would like you all to share before we close up this Blue Table Talk. So, my last question is, how do you feel your semester has been so far? Since we are at the halfway point of the semester, how do you feel this semester has been for you in terms of social distancing learning, or I should say distance learning, and school in general, school and life? So anyone can share. How has your semester been so far? And what do you think you've learned? Okay, so what are the things that you've learned this semester that can help the student body in the sense of experiences, expectations, how you're feeling, regrets, with anything?
I would say that for this semester is actually an improvement of last semester because I have more resources, able to get more work done. And it's been a little rough for me because I had got lots of stuff to balance, like volunteer, sports, personal classes, all that kind of stuff. But it's been very good. I have my high hopes and I have a good feeling that this year things will get pretty back to normal.
Thanks, Cass. And I like that you use the word normal because looking at it now, we've been a year in COVID-19, the situation, and it's looking at what is normal now. What can we say is normal? Because now I'm like, what did I do before COVID? What was my daily routine? I was like, I know I was out there, but I don't know what I did out there. But I like that you mentioned that. And thank you, Cassidy. Anyone else? Jihei?
Yeah, so to be honest, my semester was really hard because of too many Zoom meetings. I love walking on campus, but I couldn't do it. So, yeah, I need a break. I can't wait to have spring break.
Yeah, I'm glad because actually all my professors this semester, they're not making us do any assignments for spring break. So thank goodness. So really my spring break started on Thursday and I've just been chilling like a villain this whole Thursday and Friday. But that's so true. Take hold of your breaks, enjoy it. Do not do schoolwork unless you have to, then do it. But if you don't have to, don't do it. Relax because that's the only time you have. Anyone else?
I guess compared to last semester, this semester I've been more proactive, especially in math and just reaching out for help. And that's what students should do if they need help, just reach out for your professors. And yeah, just be more proactive in that because I was really bad at math, totally awful at it. And yeah, so you definitely learn from your mistakes last semester.
Oh, I don't think I did because I think I'm repeating them. But thanks, Jenny. Alex?
For me, I will definitely say that this second semester was definitely harder than first semester. I had a lot of crazy stuff happen at the beginning of the semester, which caused me to do a course correction. So I definitely needed to pivot on what my plans were. But I think that's all to say that it's okay to pivot and change directions. And also, if you need any type of assistance or help, definitely reach out for that assistance and that help. But yeah, I would definitely say that I'm just grateful that I made it out on the other end and I have a really good support group. And yeah.
I better be part of that support group because I added you on social media so you can text me too, okay? But yes, I totally agree with what you said, Alex. I loved what everyone shared so far. Did everyone share? Just making sure, okay? I think I was so into hearing what you guys said, I lost count. Okay. But for me, I don't know what it is about spring, but spring seems to be the hardest semesters compared to summer and fall. Because fall, it's like, oh, I've had that break during summer. Now I can just come back to fall and do homework, assignments and stuff. But for me, I feel like spring is so hectic because you have all these assignments. So you're moving up in a level of your education and it just gets harder and harder. It just happens to be spring. But for me, midterm wise, I think what I regret the most is bringing back my old habits because I'm now used to social distance learning, online learning, that I'm like, oh, I can do that tomorrow. And then procrastination comes in. Or, oh, I don't have to read that. It's not necessary. Then that's laziness. And I was like, oh, no. So I actually went and bought a big calendar because that calendar helps me see what I need to do, like day-to-day works and assignments and stuff. But one thing that I'd leave for the student body in terms of spring semester and just overall how far I've come in school, it's just don't give up on yourself. Don't think that just because you're behind on one assignment, you're going to be behind for the rest. Take that initiative to be proactive in the sense of if you know you missed one assignment, try your best to do the next assignment and keep going. So yeah, but we want to thank you all, our guest speakers, for sharing your preparation for final exam tips. We hope that what these student leaders shared with you all that are joining us virtually have helped you in any way possible for preparing for finals. And a friendly reminder that our next Blue Table Talk will be on the CSO year recaps, basically what we did, what we are proud of, and what our future plans are. That will stream May 3rd, again, once at 10 a.m. and second time at 7 p.m. So we wish you all the best of luck for the remaining spring semester and on finals. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.